Hello and welcome back to the Listenable podcast. My voice, Angus O'Loughlin. A more identifiable voice, Dylan Alcott. Hello.
You got an identifier. Have you seen the ad for the Kia? You know how all the sports people
Yes,
trying
I
to get
love
Kia,
the one around the pub.
the Kia Ute named after me.
Yeah.
It's on quite a bit, and I keep just catching myself going, Alcott in the background because of my voice is so distinguishable. And it just always go. I'm watching like the basketball, like, there I am. I'm gonna go and sing on.
Look, just speaking on the voice for a second, and apologies to those who are watching this on YouTube with captions. I'll kind of describe my voice. It's quite bland. I don't know. I don't think it's identifiable. I know we're joking about it. But I was in the supermarket the other day, and this is by the other day, I mean, honestly, 6 weeks ago. The woman who I was chatting with, so I started a conversation with the lady. I had a full $300 shop, which these days may as well just be a shopping basket. But I had the full shop and I put it down and I said to the lady, how's your day going? Having a bit of a chat with her. And she goes, you haven't done any radio, have you?
No way.
And I went, why do you ask? And she goes, and anyway, she was like, oh, well, just, you have a voice. And I'm like, voice that sounds like radio? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, yeah. Anyway, me and my kids used to listen to this show back in the day called The Bump. And I was like, that was me.
No way. That's great.
Isn't that identified? But she also was holding my credit card that said Angus. So I don't know. Who knows?
Was that the first time you've been recognised in 10 years?
I got recognised the other day at a winery, which is not really a great place. Anyway, enough about our voices.
I've got one more thing, Dad.
Hit me.
I forget, because when I'm behind people and they don't turn around yet.
Oh, yes.
My voice gets them, because I forget I've got a voice. They go, oh, knew it was you from your voice, mate. Happens a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
You
and then I go, can I go? It's Dylan Alcott here again.
No, that's not you.
Yeah.
Let's introduce our next guest. Let's see if this person has an identifiable voice. Certainly has an identifiable face after being all over my Instagram algo the last couple of months. Would you like to introduce yourself, guest?
My name is Kyle Willpower, or Willmington. I hate Willmington. That's why I changed my name to something more suitable to what I'm trying to do. So, yeah, I post motivational, inspirational, health sort of orientated content. And I've been doing it for about 3 years now.
Did we legally change it to Willpower, or is it just on the shirt that you're wearing?
I kind of want to. I don't know. Yeah.
What's wrong with Willmington?
It's just long and nobody gets it right. You know how many times I had it wrong on electricity bills and stuff? Oh, mate, they'll be like, hi, Mr. Kylie Willmingdong. I'm like, that's
fair enough.
Yeah.
And it'd be funny on your electricity bill if it was Willpower, powered by.
Maybe they could pay me.
Yeah, I like it.
And now, Kyle, of course, we are Listenable, a podcast that normalises disability. We speak to people with lived experience, and you yourself have a disability. Are you happy to disclose what that is?
It's called Charcot Merry Tooth. So it has nothing to do with your teeth. So we'll just keep that, straight off the bat. A lot of misconception there. It affects the peripheral nervous system, causes muscle wastage, muscle weakness, and pretty much just kind of progressive. So over time it gets worse. So when I was a kid, it wasn't really that noticeable. Then over time, it just really takes charge.
So what does it affect?
Hands and feet.
Okay.
So hands are probably 5 to 10% use, I guess. Grip strength and just overall function.
Yeah.
If I wanted to move my pinky, everything just kind of moves with it. And feet don't work at all.
Gotcha.
Before we talk about your disability, you got about 19 bracelets on there. I like that. What's going on there?
It's just kind of like a look.
I like it.
Now, I am familiar, and Dylan, you too, with Charcot Marie Tooth because...
Why we said French on the Charcot?
Charcot. Je m'appelle Angus.
Yeah.
I thought I'd help you out because you're going to France for the games. Eliza Hull.
Yeah. A few people. I play basketball with a fair few people actually that had this as well, because it affects you. And tennis, because legs and hand difference. At what age did they kind of? Do you have it in your bones, in your body from birth, and then it kind of shows signs later in life, or do you catch it? How did you kind of get diagnosed?
So born completely just no idea. And then at about age 4, I started tripping over my feet a lot. And my mum started taking me to the doctors a lot. And they were like, oh, he's just bumblefoot. He'll grow out of it. Don't worry. And I, in fact, did not start growing out of it. So they started taking me to specialists and things. And then after a lot of blood tests and scans and things that were they never actually diagnosed me with Charcot-Marie tooth back then. They just said peripheral nerve damage. And they said it will get worse over time. He'll be in a wheelchair at 18 and he will never live independently and all that sort of stuff. So, just, yeah,
Don't
push
worry
him to
about
be
the
as good
pressure
as he
from your
can for as
followers.
long as he
Take the
can,
cash.
basically.
The diagnosis, you're in a weird age of memory. Like, do you remember? Because 4, you will have some sort of memories, but is this one that stands out for you when the doctor said that there might be a bit of difference in your life?
Yeah, it does a little bit because there was something like distinctly that my mum said to the neurologist, because he was like, "Oh, his feet will deform and it'll get like really bad to a point, they like might not be like that usable or whatever." And then my mum was just straight away like, "Can't you just break them and reset them?" And I was like 5 years old going, "God, I hope not. I'm gonna hope they don't break them." Yeah, and then he was just like, "Oh yeah, there will be surgeries and things like that can happen to get him back on his feet or whatever, but yeah, it'll be like a process."
When you were a youngster, how did you go knowing that you had disability, and what was that like? Because it's you can obviously see it when you're walking around and things like that. How did it affect you in your early life?
To be honest, it didn't so much affect me like myself. It was more the outsider influences that affected me. Like it'd normally be people not understanding or knowing what's going on. And I grew up in a small country town. I was the only kid with a disability in my primary school. So pretty much it was kind of like always the conversation of like, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, just doing my best in like whatever I could. I did play soccer and things like that as well. Like it was a lot harder, but I did it. And the school was very inclusive, but as well. So I like when I did softball, they would have a runner that would run the bases for me, so I could hit the ball, and then I could like play softball like that. With high jump, they'd put the thing right down and stuff like that. So the challenges myself, I don't like. I just do like I just try.
High jump. That's an interesting choice.
Of all the choices.
Of all the choices you're rolling with, you went high jump. Like it.
Yeah, just like I think because it was like they always wanted to include me in everything that like we did sports wise. So
Yeah,
I
I did.
gave it a shot.
I did love that at school. It's like made a big effort to include. And I was like, "Dylan, do you want to go on cadet camp?" And I was like, I think my disability's going to cancel me out of that one. No. That one sounds a bit hard. No, thank you.
You used it when you needed it.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think there's any way I can do that one. No, I don't want to go. Yeah.
Now, Kyle, I did say this at the start that people, if they're watching this online, might recognise you. Certainly, I do. Apart from following you on the Listenable account, but you did start a challenge. Would you like to explain what the challenge was?
So I was like, I think it's time I do something that I can kind of hope that I inspire others to get out and start getting healthy, because it's kind of a lot to do with my message. It's like I really want people to look after themselves. So I'm like, how can I do it? And I'm like, I can do something that makes me kind of uncomfortable to do every day. And I'm thinking it'll grow at like a few hundred followers a week or something. And, over time, over a few months, it'll really build up into something really hard. So I was like, I'm going to walk one step for every new follower I get. And the second video just went through the stratosphere. And then I ended up walking a half marathon like 14 days or 9 days or something into the challenge. So I've ended up having to change it when it got to the point that I was unable to stack the days because it was just too many steps. Like it wouldn't have been sustainable. So I ended up changing it to 5,000 steps plus every new follower. And still every day it was like still 10,000 plus steps most days for a while. And now it's kind of cooled off a bit, but it's still very consistent.
If you didn't change the task, what would have been the most amount of distance you would have walked?
Okay, so I got up to 36,000 steps in one day, which was the max I've ever done in my whole life. And the brutality in the video I can show of my legs after that was like, if I had done the next day after that, it would have been 42,000 after a 36,000 day. So then it would have been the day after would have been like 48,000 on top of that day and that day and that day. So I wasn't just walking the new followers, I was walking the previous ones plus the new followers. So I didn't really think it through because it went really fast.
You know, that's the type of challenge has taken off sort of recently. There's
I haven't seen much of them online.
there's been a few, but we loved Tim Narkey, this New Zealand guy who was betting 10 cents for every follower. I'm guessing he might have been.
That's where I got the idea.
I was going to say, was he the inspiration? Yeah, so he was gambling 10 cents for every follower and ended up putting on $190,000 bet or something before retiring with
Thank God he required it half.
Thank God he retired.
I was messaging him saying, mate, don't worry about the pressure from the followers. Take the cash.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was the reason that you stopped the original format. It was just unsustainable. And so this new challenge of doing 5,000 as a guarantee plus the new followers. But there was something about ripping the kit off and trying to get shredded. That's along the journey. I don't want to be, that's your part of what you're trying to do. But from day one we're in the 50s now as we go to recording. You've lost a bit of weight.
7 kilos so far.
Looking good, looking great. Is there a goal? And not that losing weight is, for people out there, we're not endorsing that has to be your story, but for you in particular, it does lead into part of your disability. But can you tell us, why that was a huge part of the challenge as well? I was sort of also leaning you into. Didn't a doctor tell you not to be fat around your disability?
Probably didn't say don't be fat.
Whoa, wait.
Did he say don't be fat?
Yeah. That it literally was like, do not let him get fat. Like that was the words.
What is that?
Like it's very imperative he
When
does
was
not
that?
get fat. When I was young, so I would have I think it was one of the doctor's visits around 8 because I remember these distinct little points.
What a bloody
and it was
line
like,
by the
"Don't
doctor.
get-"
That's horrible.
But you know what I didn't get from that? I didn't get, understanding of calories and what exercise does for you and, all those educational parts. They missed that out. They just said, don't get fat. And then, I just grew up and didn't know what I was doing and got fat.
Oh, you know what? That's such a great point because, I was young and disabled and got pretty fat myself. But like, you're so true. I wonder if now there's more education around calories and how it actually works or
referral to a dietitian immediately after that consultation.
Yeah, because I think even just there, everyone's understanding's got greater because of the social media world and how it actually calories in, calories out. It used to be like drink skinny milk and then you'll be fine. It's like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
So I only learned because I was an athlete. It wasn't actually, it would be important for especially young people like you and I with disability because being healthy it's hard to get around when you're not healthy and disabled. It's hard enough to get around as it is, to be honest. Yeah. Do you feel that as well?
100%. And that's like literally one of the things, like I still meet people to this day, disabled or not, that don't understand calories. And I think that's a major component to being healthy, like especially in the initial, just understanding what you're eating and how many calories are in things. And once you do, it just sets it all up for you to be able to achieve a greater level of fitness throughout life. But, as a kid, disabled, gradually getting worse over time, don't get fat, starts getting fat, doesn't know why, doesn't know what to do. And then just over time, it just perpetuates into life. And then here you are, and then you've got to do something about it. And you work it all out yourself, and then now you're good. But it could have all been avoided.
No, for sure. And someone's weight's irrelevant. It's if they're healthy.
So, Kyle, for you, though, when the bad terminology of don't get fat, it's because, you do wear leg braces and, that assists with your movement. So is it just basically gravity? It's like weight on your legs. That's not going to be a great part. That's going to, if it's not the idea of use it or lose it, it's just like don't abuse it.
Yeah, basically just more pressure on the joints, more balance issues, all that sort of stuff.
Are you a rapper?
Did you like that?
No, use it or lose it, but don't abuse it. What did you just make that up?
You have to.
Oh, I have to. But even just like for sitting down, like for me, like, extra weight's harder to transfer, harder to get up, harder to get out of the car, harder to move around, more pressure on your shoulders, pressure on your back. Like, because I put on like 15 kegs when I retired and didn't really care. Like, I was like, whatever. But I was like, oh man, it's like just life's tougher just doing stuff. So I was, and also the correlation between your physical health and your mental health, getting out there and being active really helps.
In particular with your disability, it is a condition that will worsen. You sort of alluded to it just before, as in your mobility will lessen. Can you take us through, before the physical, which we've sort of focused on a little bit, can you take us through the mental of that? Because, you are part of your job is mindset coach. How do you overcome the idea that where you are today, you won't be tomorrow, and it is sort of I don't want to use, I don't know what terminology best to use, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll put it simply, I'm incredibly stubborn. So I'm not yet facing that it will get worse. I'm just like, nah, be better every day, as good as I can. And when that bridge comes, like, we'll cross it. But for now, the bridge is way away in the distance and nowhere near my mind, because if you're focusing or even manifesting, whatever word you want to use, that future, that will be a reality. And for me, it won't be mine. I just will keep on pushing to see what happens.
Yeah, and I think there's an element, this is not scientifically backed, but the more active and the more you look after yourself, the better your prognosis of whatever's going to happen is. There's an element that you can't control, but there is stuff you can control, right? Which is just getting out there and being fit and healthy. When you, in terms of like your mindset coaching and things like that, do you lean on your disability to educate other people quite a bit? Do you talk to people with similar situations than you, or is it kind of broad into everybody?
It's definitely broad. Like, I just think, you can build your mindset from a young age, or you can just start building it now. So it really just depends on what struggles you're facing and how you want to overcome them. And it's just so broad. Like, it can be, it can change for so many things. It's not just health. It can be like work related, or even knowing how to enjoy your own free time. Some people don't even know what they like. And that could be really hard. Like, what if you have all the money in the world, but you don't actually know what you enjoy? So just learning how to enjoy your time and your life is massive as well, and building your mindset around that.
Yeah, I always say around mindset for people, you don't have to always go see a bloody mindset coach. And it's just like doing something for yourself. Listen to a podcast, talk to your friend, just exercise something is actually doing better. Like, just doing better every day on that kind of stuff, because it can be all a bit too confronting sometimes. Like, oh, do you have to go see a psych? Do you have to go to this? And it works for some, not others, whatever. But building each day, you can have never done anything ever before, but you can start right now. You know what I mean? To get out there and improve your mental health, your mental fitness, basically, to get out there and do whatever you want to do in the best way that you can do it.
Kyle, relationships. How is your relationships with, in your life with your parents, with friends, and do you think in any way, form, partners, do you think in any way, form, your disability has helped those relationships broaden, if that makes sense? Because, did you find you had a better relationship with your parents when you were diagnosed at 4 years old? Have you, because of your disability, you've found the right friendship group to circle you, to make your circle? Have partners that, love you for who you are?
Yeah. I think my dad was probably the best dad I could have had, because he would always like literally say to me, like, Dad, I can't. He's like, no such word as can't, do it. And I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, I'll be crying and carrying on. He's like, no, do it. And it'd be like always these really difficult things. And it just like over time, trained me into being like, no, just give it a go, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. He's like, it doesn't matter if you don't do it right, just do it, And then my mom was always like, just, you're going to have a go. You're going to the swimming carnival. You're going to this, you're doing it. You're not staying home. And I'd be like, I'd always be wanting to stay home and things like that. And my friends like that I've had over all the years have never, ever treated me any differently in any scenario. Like, it's just, I don't know, like always very accommodating. And, but to be fair, for 31 years of my life, I actually hid my disability as best I could. I would always wear pants all year round. I would just say I had a limp, just say I had an accident. I was like afraid to become my true self. And that happened, for 31 years of my life. So really anyone that only really knew me on a close level knew I had a disability, like to the severity, I guess I would say, that I have it. But then I decided one year, I was like, I'm not going into summer this year wearing long pants. I'm coming out, people are going to either love me or hate me for what it is. And I realized that I've just gained so much more respect and everything as a person for doing that. And like, I'm not going to say I regret it. I don't regret anything, but I wish I came out sooner and just like embraced it.
You realize no one actually gives a crap, to be honest. They're too busy worrying about themselves. What's that saying?
2 weeks of wearing shorts and people used to like, so should I bring up the fact I've got leg braces?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even notice.
No one ever cares. Yeah. Oh, it's so true. Good on you, mate.
And as far as partners goes, partners have always been like relatively good, like never any differences there. And I have an amazing partner now, which is just fantastic. He's incredibly supportive with everything. Always will see the days that I struggle and offer to put my socks on and things like that. Just invaluable.
What's your partner's name?
Paige,
make an appearance in the. Do you give her some Instagram and TikTok love, or do you keep that all to yourself?
Yeah, I do. She's in a few of my videos.
I think she films a couple of
I was going to say, she's on the camera probably.
Kyle, we finish all of our episodes with the bowl of uncomfortable. I've got an uncomfortable one. You rarely, some of them are pretty soft balls.
Yeah.
I got a pretty tough one. So do you want to go first? Anyway, the bowl of uncomfortable sent in by listeners anonymously, or they put their names to it. It's usually a question that we ask our guests to make the uncomfortable comfortable. Are you ready, Kyle? Don't have to answer it as well, by the way.
Yeah, cool.
This person would like to remain anonymous. It comes across that you want followers to help shine the light on disability. However, you're now doing paid sponsorships with your new follower base because you've gained a large following. I don't want to be part of your analytics for sponsors and feel cheated on your challenge. Tell me why I shouldn't unfollow you.
Ooh. Okay. Well, it's always been my goal to be a successful creator, and in turn, I'm going to work with brands that I believe in and products that I use myself. And that's never been like anything I've hidden or anything like that. It's always something I've been wanting to do. So you'll never see me endorse a product that I don't want to use or think anyone should use in life. I think that if I'm endorsing it, it's something I think is good. And if you want to unfollow me because I'm going to have brands that I work with, then I don't know, man. Like, I'm still going to provide a lot of good free value on my channel, but I'm also obviously going to link brands that support me and support them back.
Good on you, mate. It is funny, Sydney Sweeney gets paid deals because she's a great actor and she's, using what she's got in terms of like her skill set, her looks, and then all of a sudden when someone's disabled, it's like, you're using a disability. I'm like, people use their sporting ability.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney didn't get a, knockback when she did a Skims ad or whatever it was. I know that's Sabrina Carpenter as well, by the way. Jesus.
I'm sure they do, but they're using you know what I mean, in terms of it's a whole package. I use my whole package. I do use my disability because I am disabled.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to shy away from it. So good on you, mate.
That makes sense. Also, if you see me do a brand deal, I don't have to like the brand. I'll just take the money. So I actually did a brand deal recently and they sent me a pair of pink shoes. Didn't have an option in it. Have to wear them. Woo! Love that brand.
Nice. What brand was it?
Won't say.
I just want to shout out Nike. I love Nike.
Well, send me a pair of shoes. Actually, you gave me a pair of shoes.
I gave you a pair of shoes.
Shout out to Nike. I did wear that for the Melbourne Marathon. Very fast carbon plate.
What's next, brother? What do you want to do? What's the end goal for Willpower?
The end goal? So I'm building a community at the moment, which is what I want people to join. It's called the Willpower Wellness Community. So it's going to be all stuff in there that is teaching people just how to be the best version of themselves. Breath work, ice baths, meditation, training, all that sort of weight loss, everything. It's all going to be in there. It's all in the build up at the moment. So my end goal is to help as many people as I can. And I would love to chat at schools to children with disabilities and without, and just try and, solidify some information that I didn't learn when I was a kid. Hopefully the calorie stuff. Great.
Good on you, mate. Awesome job. Love it.
All of the details in the show notes below, but the Instagram and the TikTok is kylewill.tv. Appreciate it.
Sorry. Before we go, Angus is still in my phone as Angus O from TV. I like that. That is true.
God, I didn't want to bring up the fact. Yes, I hosted MTV TRL. Big deal. God, sorry, Kyle, to take it away from you.
Good on you, Carl.